And we met precisely because you were doing TV. We were back in the green room and we had a little chat. And I was just so impressed with how unfiltered and direct you are about the situation that was being discussed at the time, which was Afghanistan. I think the dust is settling a little bit now and we can have a more measured conversation about it. But give us your overall thoughts on you know, it's been 20 years. Were we right to go in? Did we do things right when we were there? Were we right to leave? What was your impression of the things that have happened?
I think we were absolutely right to go in. We had no choice other than to go into Afghanistan in 2003, which is, or beg your pardon, in 2001, 2002, when we went in there. I mentioned 2003 because that was when I was there for the first time. But we were right to do it. We just had the biggest terrorist attack in the history of the world, in which more Britons were killed than had been killed in any other terrorist attack anywhere. There were more casualties sustained on 9/11 than had been sustained in Pearl Harbor when the Japanese attacked America. That led to the Second World War and a nuclear bombing of Japan. So, it wasn't a small event. It was something that had to be avenged and had to be, the repeat of which had to be prevented. So we needed to go in. I think you could certainly question, and I do, what happened after that, after we got rid of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda out of Afghanistan, and whether it was necessary to stay there 20 years. But given that we had done that, I think it was a real disaster to leave when we did, for very many reasons. But I think we left at too short notice. We left without the conditions being set or any restrictions being placed on the Taliban. And we left without giving the chance to the Afghan government and the Afghan security forces to prepare for a totally new situation that they were now facing. And we did so at the height of the Taliban fighting season, when they were in their most active period. So that explains, I think, to a very large extent, why it all went wrong. And the consequences we haven't even begun to understand yet.
And you say we haven't begun to understand the consequences. What do you think those consequences are going to be?
Well, for one, probably the biggest thing, and I apologise for not focusing on the horror that's about to engulf Afghanistan, but in strategic terms, the biggest thing is a complete undermining of US and Western reputations around the world, which will have consequences. We're now we and the US and NATO now seen as being fair weather friends. When the tough gets hard, we get the hell out of it. And who's going to rely on us then? Which countries that we're hoping to entice away from China and Russia into the democratic sphere? Which of those is going to be with us? They're not. They're going to look more to Russia and China. Massive strategic consequences. China and Russia are going to do their best to push the envelope now, knowing that, where's the danger? Is America going to strike back now? Probably not. That's what their calculation will be. But then in other consequences, we're about to face the biggest terrorist threat, I think, probably bigger than before 9/11, with the Taliban. The new Taliban government announced a few days ago is old guard, hardline, many of them on wanted lists around the world, including UN sanctions lists. These are not kind of people who, as they said, are going to be looking for equal opportunities and give human rights and stuff. They're not. These are hardline killers, murderers, torturers, and rapists, and they're running that country.